So there was a term in the old United States that was called manifest destiny. It was the belief that this young country, the United States, was destined to expand from coast to coast across the continent. There was a vision that this early country was destined to extend across the vast and uncharted land. And we're in a very similar position in the AI industry, right? So AI is becoming more and more prevalent in our day-to-day lives, but in some sense, it's still an illusion. For big companies come out with AI products, but real AI products still eludes most businesses today. So to effectively utilize AI in your business, there is much to be charted, and there are many unknowns. And fulfill our AI destiny we must. For, as we'll see in a moment, AI is the only way to move forward. Each and every one of us here in this room should probably already know that AI is not only important for your business, it's existential to its survival. Right? It is becoming no longer viable to build differentiated product offerings purely with what I started calling traditional software engineering. If you don't have AI and data science in your toolbox, it's going to become increasingly difficult to compete, and you will eventually become irrelevant. Let me give you an example. 10 years ago, music streaming services could do just that, stream music. You pick a song, you play it, magnificent. But today, without AI-driven discovery tools, audio-curated playlists, radio stations that adapt to your taste, you're not even in the game. And what is more disconcerting is that not only were these capabilities differentiators for these businesses, they have become table stakes. They have become the standard for every business and the entry point level. It is then completely unsurprising that last year 37% of all startup investments in Israel went to AI startups. And these AI startups has the right idea. They know that they cannot build innovation and differentiation purely on traditional software engineering. So you want to use AI in your business. Let's talk about how most businesses go about it today. They take a team of data scientists and they lock them in a room, maybe for a year, and they wait. Now, the idea is, of course, that these super smart people, these data scientists, are going to research the heck out of whatever data that you have, out of whatever business opportunities you have, and come up with something, hopefully, usable. But mostly they don't. And it's not hard to see why, and let me demonstrate. If you'll take 10 software engineers and lock them in a room for a year with vague business goals, would you assume that at the far end of it, they'll come up with something usable and shippable in your business? Of course not. That is crazy. That is forgetting everything that the last 10 years of product management development has taught us. Everything about agile life cycle management, about incremental deliveries, about product market fit. So, I believe the reason for why most companies do this is because for the last 20 years as an industry, we have been purely focused on the D in R&D and completely forgot about the R. We have no tried and tested methodologies for research. And for today's business sensibilities, research is insane. It's bonkers. It's backwards. Research is highly unpredictable and hence very risky. It's hard to break it down to small blocks, and it's also unclear how do you measure its progress. So what do you do? How do you build a research organization and base it on methodologies that you can count on for delivery? So you start with your data scientists. You start with your top researchers. Now, I'll caveat it with if you need run-of-the-mill AI capabilities, something that you can use out of the box or from an online service. If you just need image classification and a cloud service is good enough for you, you get scot-free. But if you need something unique, if you need to train something on your own data and have an implementation that is not available out there or is not good enough out there, you're going to heavily rely on these guys. These are your AI scientists that have profound understanding of the art. And next, you augment them with your product management leadership. This might be the most important building block for success for your business, because they're going to be the connecting tissue between your research and your business goals. They're going to be the ones helping the team make critical strategic decisions, and they're going to be the ones leading data initiatives in your business that is going to fuel the research. Once you have this leadership in place, you can start defining metrics for progress and success. And even more importantly, you can work with this leadership in order to break down research into smaller blocks of progress that you can measure. And also keep in mind that you do need a deployment plan. Taking a mathematical model or a deep learning model and deploying it in production is not always straightforward. Finally, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Research. Do you do pure research or applied research? And how do you balance it? So, for the uninitiated, pure research is research that is done to advance the state of the art and the underlying understanding of the field, while applied research is done to advance your product and business goals. Pure research is not only for academia and large companies, it's actually profoundly important for every research team. For pure research allows your researchers to deepen their understanding of their field and complement what they learned with additional discoveries. It allows them to keep up with the state of the art and get exposure as they write papers, publish them, or talk in conferences. So you do need to have a measured approach. For the bigger your research team is, the more you can be liberal in doing pure research. But if you have a small research team, you're going to need to be highly selective. But generally speaking, I'll prescribe somewhere between 10 to 50% of your research to be pure research. And that's based on your team size and your sense of adventure. Think of doing pure research as a parallel stream to your mainstream, where you have researchers embark on durations of pure research, where they take theses that are complementary to your main workflow and then reintegrate back with profound new understandings and hopefully technological leaps. Let me give you two examples of pure research projects that we did in our lab in Herzliya. In our AI lab, we usually work on natural language and speech, which are AI algorithms that we put into our products every day. But specifically, we took a pure research project on combining natural language and vision. And we did a project on language grounding in images, which is the task of giving the AI an image and a description of something in the image and have it find it. For example, I will tell you the hat the man is wearing or that thing in front of the car. So it's very instinctively apparent that in order to get this right, you need deep understanding of both language and vision. And the work that the team did here actually allowed us to learn a lot more on how to build advanced language models and to further our natural language business. Another example is a recurrent neural network that learns to analyze other neural networks. So it's an AI that analyzes other AIs. And this recurrent network is now helping us test and find deficiencies or opportunities in our existing models. So it's AI guiding the learning of other AI projects. Very interesting work. I encourage you to go to our blog and read more about this. So you have a research organization and you put down your leadership and you have the research flow. But what do you do? What do you actually going to research? So that's where AI product management comes into play. So go back to product management 101. Identify your pain points. So identify your pain points and start framing your thought process around What do my customers and users spend brain cycles on? What do the experts that use my products or the experts that I engage with in my business, what do they spend their brain cycles on? And what could I do if I could replicate their minds, if I could replicate their expertise? These are going to be your basis for AI features. These are going to be concrete business use cases that you know that if you're going to implement them are going to have a positive impact on your business and your bottom line. Then also try and take it to the workflow level where you can take a feature but not only have one specific capability but an entire workflow in your product automated with AI. And let me give you an example. Let's do an exercise of how we can do this. Let's imagine that we have a marketing platform. So in marketing, in online ads, you have marketing people and copywriters publish ads, but they don't just publish one version of an ad. They publish 10 different versions of it, sometimes 20, because we don't really know which ad copy, which version of the text is going to work best, is going to convert best in the real world. So there's a ton of time and effort spent by marketing people creating these additional variations on the same copy. But what if we could take that task, and especially if we're a marketing platform, we probably have a ton of data on a lot of different variations of ads and which ones worked. So if we can have an AI get one version of the copy and create 10 others to get published and see which one works best online. So that's the feature, and we can take it to a workflow. Instead of just creating the copy, have the AI publish the ads, measure which ones is working best, take the best ones, create further versions on them, sort of like a genetic evolution of it, and have a workflow of entire marketing workflow automated with AI. So this is just an example. If anybody wants to take this idea, talk to me after the keynote. I'll get you funded. One more thing you need to think about is data. So we all know that for AI to learn to do anything useful, you need to feed it data. So if you're using common data that everyone has, it's going to be probably easy to replicate the work that you're doing. So you need to balance the quality and quantity of data that you have, and you need to create data competencies in your organization. And you need to look for exclusiveness in data. So think about, what do I have in my business? What in the interactions that I have with my customers, with the businesses that I work with? What data can I collect and use in order to train AI? And if you have high data competency and the data is exclusive to you, you can have differentiation and you can deliver AI capabilities that are very, very hard to replicate. Another way to look at it is the data competency with the AI complexity. The more complex the AI is, or how unique your algorithms are compared to the availability of exclusive data, you can create innovation and differentiation. So let me just finish saying that AI is probably one of the most powerful but also volatile tools that we have today at our disposal. And I like to analog AI to fire, because fire is very powerful, but if you handle it incorrectly, you'll just end up burning a lot of resources and time. But if you harness its power, you can shoot for the stars. Thank you very much.